Hi guys, my name is Lorena and today we're going to learn two-step equations. So as the title states, we need to take 2 steps in order to solve the equation. And in an equation, our objective is always to find our variable. In this case, for example, we have x, you could use y, z, any variable whatsoever. Our objective finally comes to be to find the value of our variable. So what we want to do is leave our variable and the number in front of our variable by itself on one side, and to leave a value on the other side of the equal sign. So what we're going to do is do the opposite, to bring it to the other side. So here it's -7, and to bring it to the other side, we're going to add it. So we're going to add it here. This will cancel out to 0, and then we already brought it to the next side. So -12 plus 7 equals -5. Exactly. So -3x equals -5. Now we're one step closer to solving our variable. Now we're at a one-step equation. What we do is, again, do the opposite. We always do the opposite. In an equation, in an equal sign, we always do the opposite to bring it to the other side. So we're going to divide. -3, -3. Think of it as in whatever I do to one side, I need to do it to the other. Okay, so x ends up being -5 over -3. Or it could also be 5 over 3. Because ultimately a negative and a negative equals a positive. Okay. So I'm gonna bring someone up so you could do number 2. Okay. So who's gonna come up? Julio. Kimiko. Very good. Okay, so what's your first step? Talk to the class. What's your first step?
I have to leave the variable and the number alone.
Okay. So what do you do first?
Subtract by 1.
Okay.
Because this is a positive.
That cancels it. -1. -14 minus 1. Plus -15. Now you do it again. The only difference from a two-step equation is that you need 2 steps. As it says the name, you need 2 steps in order to solve your variable. Now we're going to another 2-step equation, but instead of being an equal sign, we're going to have an inequality.
Wow.
You follow the same steps, but there's one little twist to it. So we're going to start again. So, answer. What do we do first, guys?
Isolate the coefficient and the variable.
Exactly. Oh, that's another important thing. This, any number in front of your variable is called a coefficient.
Can it be any number?
Any number whatsoever. The x can even be by itself, and the number, there's supposedly an imaginary number in front of x, and it's 1. Because, for example, here, x equals -5 over -8. And that will be the same as saying 1x equals -5 over -3. Because once you divide that number by 1, you get the same answer. So in front of every x, there's an imaginary 1. But always think of whatever number is in front of your variable is your coefficient. So we're going to continue. Okay, so that's the first thing we have to do. Subtract -10. Which cancels out, and you bring it to the other side. So whatever you do on one side, again, you do it to the other side. So 25 minus 10 is 15. Okay, so -5x less than or equal to 15. Now, we're going to do the same thing we did on the other side. Divide by -5. You always do the opposite. You're multiplying, you're dividing. You're adding, you subtract. You subtract, you add. Okay, so then what we're going to do now is divide on the other side by -5 again. But in inequality, when you divide by a number, you change the sign. So instead of being less than or equal to, it's going to turn into greater than or equal to. So then where x value is going to equal, yes?
I thought it was that when you divide by a negative number, that it changes the sign.
Exactly. When you divide by a negative number, you change the sign. So here you have -5 times x.
So a positive number wouldn't do that.
No, a positive number wouldn't. So that's what we're going to do on our next problem. So let's continue. So as I stated, whenever you divide and you have an inequality sign, the sign automatically switches. So x is going to be greater than or equal to -3. Okay, so that's our answer. And now for positive, when it's positive, you don't change the sign. This only happens when it's negative. So those are little rules that you need to remember. So let's continue. Here you go, Shayla.
I'll try my best, guys.
No, back to the class. What are we going to do?
Okay, so class, the first thing we're going to do is subtract both sides by 24.
Okay, 24.
I hope someone has a calculator in hand.
Okay, I'll help you out, don't worry. So 4z is less than or equal to. Okay, something else, you guys. Always write out your problems because here you can easily and write greater than or equal to. And that's important because if you had a negative number, then you would need to switch the sign. So continue. So 2 minus 24 equals
Negative 22 or negative 20?
negative 22. Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Sorry guys, I warned you. And now to isolate the variable, you divide by 4.
Exactly.
But the sign stays the same, right? Alright.
Exactly. The sign stays the same because it's a positive number that's being
So
divided by
it'd
negative.
be negative 11 over.
Okay, so this is up to you guys. But you can leave it as a fraction or you can leave it as a decimal. It doesn't really matter.
Oh, okay.
You have to simplify though.
I mean, you could simplify.
You could
Okay, so
simplify,
it'll
yeah.
be
Negative 11 over 2.
negative 11 over 2, and then that's it.
That's your answer. So C is
Wasn't so bad.
Step 1. What to do? You move it to the side. Step 2. All variables, what to do with you. You stop for x. There you go. The answer you've been waiting for. Step 1. What to do? You move it to the side. Step 2. All variables, what to do with you. You stop for x. There you go. The answer you've been waiting for.